I personally spent over $100,000 on courses and masterminds, and here's why I didn't get scammed. What's going on, guys? It's Tappa. I'm currently in the mountains. It's currently a Saturday morning. I am not hungover. Thank God. I actually came out here just to lock in, just to grind for the month, just because there's so much to get done in all my businesses, and I'm pushing for building extreme wealth. But in this video, I'm going to go over a bunch of the courses and the masterminds that I purchased and how I actually use them to better my businesses and, of course, better my life. Of course, you can say I'd be biased because I actually do have my own community and my own mentorship these days. But between 2020 and 2023, I actually didn't offer any mentorships myself. I was behind the scenes, I was grinding on all my businesses, and I actually just want to walk you through what I purchased and actually how it impacted my life. So let's start in 2020, where I purchased a couple different things. So funny enough, the first thing that I purchased was even before 2020, before I saw my first real success. This was, I believe, in like 2017, and I bought a pre-built store for $200. Back in the day, I was trying drop shipping. I was trying to sell these shitty hoodies, and nothing was really working. So what I did was I paid somebody, I think it was like $200-300 for a pre-built store. And funny enough, what I realized was that person that I paid, he just duplicated one of his stores and put a different product on that store and just changed the colors. Now, was that $200 investment worth it? Well, in my opinion, it was worth it because he was somebody that I saw seeing success with drop shipping. So not only did I get that store that, of course, didn't amount to anything, I actually got to network with that person and learn a little bit on how drop shipping is actually done. Now, then I went to college and I tried a couple different businesses. They pretty much all failed because I didn't put the work in. And then in 2020, that's kind of when I went all in again. So in 2020, I was doing a lot of free courses on YouTube. And in my opinion, YouTube is still a great place to learn. And I think so much information's on YouTube. But what's more important than just courses is honestly just guidance from people that are already where you want to be. And so that's when I went down the rabbit hole of both purchasing mentorships and networking events. So I went to my first networking event in September of 2020. I flew all the way down to Miami, and it actually costed me a couple $1,000s to do that. And funny enough, the person that was hosting the event ended up being a pretty big entrepreneur in the space. You may or may not heard of him, but his name is Luke Belmar. I went to that event. We rented out like 3 to 4 yachts, I believe, and basically went out on the water with a bunch of different entrepreneurs, all ranging from, 18 to, I would say, about like 30, 40. And all of them had various businesses. Some of them were doing drop shipping, some of them were scaling an agency, so on and so forth. But what I learned at that event was extremely important for where I am today because I was actually still in school. I didn't drop out at that point yet. And at that event, what I realized is everybody around me was no smarter than me, right? There were actually a lot of idiots that were making $100,000 a month. So after the yachts, we went to Penthouse. I met a lot of people my age that actually dropped out of school just to pursue e-commerce full time and were very successful at it. Now, these people are still around to this day, and it's kind of crazy watching everybody grow. Not only Luke, but a lot of other people in the space have massively grown their business, and that was like 5 years ago. Long story short, that night, I ended up deciding to drop out of school and pursue my businesses full time. Now, at this point, this was a risk, but what I found out is that all I needed was the belief and the determination to make it work, and I'll somehow figure it out. And at the end of the day, that is really all you need. If you just believe in yourself and work day in, day out to make it work, you are going to find a way to make it work. And the reason why is because not only does the universe reward effort, but if you go all in and you work 12 hours a day in, day out, you're going to stack up so many failures that something's eventually going to work. And that's exactly what happened to me. I had pretty much no income when I went to that event. And literally that next month, I made a couple $1,000s. The month after, I was making $10,000 a month consistently. And I didn't just invest in that networking event. I also invested in a bunch of courses. I even invested in courses that had nothing to do with what I was trying to do. I even invested into a Google Ads course because I liked the person that was running the community. I saw that he was very knowledgeable, he had a ton of experience in the space, and I was bound to learn something. And at that point, I was running Instagram pages, and I also started an agency. So funny enough, one of my first big agency clients that was paying me $10K a month, I met from that community. And even a year later, I ended up opening up that Google Ads course again, using it, and that made me 6 figures in profit. I paid a couple $1,000s for that one course and I got a 100x return. But it's not just the money that you should be thinking about, you should be thinking about the knowledge that you gain. So just to break it down, networking event, a couple $1,000s, Agency course, I think it was about $2,000. Google course, another $2,000. And then I spent $5,000 on a mentorship from an e-commerce guru. So I was less than a year into my whole entrepreneurial journey, and I already spent over $10,000 on courses and networking events. And every single one of those paid tenfold. But you can't buy a course or a mentorship or go to a networking event and expect an immediate ROI. Sometimes you see ROIs within a couple weeks, sometimes a couple months. I even had ROIs from a couple years from getting that thing. And that's because of the people that I meet. You have to understand that the entrepreneurial space is really about who you meet and what information you take in. One thing, just one thing can completely change the game for you. One piece of information, because if you really think about it, what you're doing when you're networking is you're leveraging other people's time. Meaning if I meet an entrepreneur and they're doing $100,000 a month and I'm only doing $10K a month, they're testing almost 10 times as fast as me. So one piece of information that they can give me can completely change the game for me. It's kind of like buying Bitcoin in 2017. You probably heard of Bitcoin. It was trending. You heard it from somebody, but you didn't do the due diligence and learn about Bitcoin to invest your money into Bitcoin. So it's very similar as an entrepreneur. You get information from a lot of different sources, and it's your job to stress test this information. But what's important is the source that you're getting the information from. And so I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of everything that I invested on, but just understand that I've been investing tens of thousands of dollars every single year on courses and networking events ever since 2020. And we're talking trips to Dubai, Barcelona, LA, Miami, just to meet these people and just to expedite my learning curve. Because again, you have to learn to leverage other people's time. One piece of information, as long as you take action on it, could absolutely change the game for you. And I think there's a negative stigma around course sellers because people want quick fixes without putting in the work. But again, you have to make sure that you stress test the information that you get very thoroughly to see if it works for you or not. And I'm not saying that just because it works for somebody else, it's going to work for you. But what I am saying is you should be testing as much as possible because one thing can 10x your business. And if you really look at it and you compare investing in yourself to investing in the stock market, as I just mentioned, I got a 100x return on everything that I purchased. And it may not happen tomorrow, it may not happen next month, it may not even happen next year, but I got a return on everything I purchased. And that's because I decided to take action on the information that I purchased. And if you really think about it, the same people that are calling course gurus or mentorship gurus a scam are the people that are not successful in life. And every successful person I know constantly reinvests in themselves. So you could do the math on that. And really a mindset shift that you should have is you should go all in on yourself. So if you decide to buy this thing, you have to make sure that you're putting full effort into it. Because I see it time and time again. Those who give up are not going to see success. Those who stick with it are going to see success. There's a 100% chance that you're going to see success as long as you don't give up. And at the end of the day, if you're not willing to bet on yourself with your own money, then why do you expect somebody else to bet on you? You have to make sure that you're putting skin in the game. Think about it like this. If you get information for free, you're probably going to take it for granted. But if you pay thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars for this information, you're probably going to take action on it. And I'll give you a quick example of that. I recently purchased a $12.5 thousand community in investing just to take investing my money a little bit more seriously. Just to learn a little bit more about how the world works, how the economies works, politics, where to invest my money. Because if I didn't pay that amount of money, then I would probably ignore it for the time being. I would focus on my businesses, which is generating me cash flow, but real wealth comes through investing. And so I know if I have skin in the game, I'm actually going to take action and take the time out of my day to prioritize this thing. I think that's something that not enough people talk about because people are emotional when it comes to money. They are attached to the money that they spend. So if you spend a certain amount of money on something, you expect some sort of return. So if you purchase an all-inclusive trip tomorrow, you're going to go to that trip. Otherwise, you're going to be wasting your money. It's the same thing as buying a course or a mentorship. You are going to show up, and that showing up is going to allow you to build momentum and actually apply the things that they are teaching. Now, I think courses are very important to give you streamlined information on what action steps you actually need to take. But what's even more important is a mentor that's already at where you want to be. And the reason for that is because mentors generally have a ton of experience and wisdom to guide you in the right direction. That way you're not spending time where you shouldn't be spending time. And I see it time and time again. People jump into business, make so many different mistakes and learn through those mistakes. But what a mentor gives you is more of a straight line through their experiences on where to actually go and where to focus your time on. By getting a mentor, you might not see success right away, but you're going to see success much faster. Take it from me, for example. I didn't want to invest into a mentor because of this whole stigma that, mentorship is a scam. So I had to learn by myself and fail so many times. I was failing for years. But if I just purchased that mentorship, I might have failed for even months or even less than a year and seen success a lot faster. And so that's why 2020 completely changed my life, because I was willing to invest my money. And every single millionaire that I know has a mentor. It's not a coincidence. If you show me a self-made millionaire, I will show you a mentor that guided them in the right direction. Or a bunch of mentors, a bunch of people that were already where they wanted to be and gave them information to test out on their own. Going alone is going to be your slowest path. Now, can you be successful going alone? 100%. But if you really want to make it work, start investing in yourself. Start investing in your education. I'll give you a quick example because I've been heavily involved in the Instagram space, the agency space, and just generally the online money-making space for the past 5 years. And I will be the first to tell you, this space is very small. The more money you make, the smaller the circles get. And I've personally been to a lot of different networking events, and I see the same people constantly. And funny enough, a lot of their mentors or a lot of courses that they purchased, I ended up purchasing as well. So think about it like this. You're not buying information. What you're truly buying is time. You're paying to compress years of trial and error into potentially months. Truly, your time is your most valuable asset, and oftentimes it's not how hard you work, it's what you're working on. And that's what most people, especially broke people, do not understand. Wealthy people understand leverage, and they understand that a couple pieces of information can completely change their business. The real question is, are course gurus evil? Well, here's the honest truth. I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of people out there selling garbage information or garbage advice. But even bad courses and bad mentorships could change your life. And that's probably why thousands of people buy courses, but only a small percentage of people actually succeed. And that's not because the course was bad whatsoever, but because success requires the figure it the fuck out mentality. The course actually doesn't make you successful. Your willingness to implement and adapt does make you successful. So if you buy a course, stop complaining that it's not gonna work. You have to figure it the fuck out. You have to test as much as you possibly can. If you think the course is gonna do the work for you, you already failed. To summarize, courses and mentorships accelerate the progress you're already making. And because you invested your hard-earned money into it, it allows you to also prioritize this thing. They put you on the right path faster, but you still have to walk the path. And that's what most broke people do not understand. And I'll leave you off with this. The best students treat courses as starting points and not finish lines. I'll see you in the next one.